make a question or you have an additional thought or comment, please drop it in the Q&A tab to be addressed in our panel discussion coming up. So rounding out our session and grounding us in the everyday reality of dairy farming in New South Wales, I'd like to introduce Sharon Parrish. Sharon is a dairy farmer located in Bodalla, New South Wales. She's been dairy farming for 29 years with her husband Darren, and together they have a strong focus on animal welfare and sustainability in our industry. Sharon is passionate about educating others of the industry and regularly hosts farm tours whilst also organising the local Bodalla Dairy Discussion Group. Sharon, so let's zoom into dairy farming in the Bodalla region now. It's over to you.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, Nolag. I'm Sharon Parrish, and I'd like to say I've been quite inspired by both Elise and Nolag's presentations. It's nice to see I'm ticking some of those boxes. Got a way to go, but we'll get there. So today I'm going to be talking about my experiences as an employer in the dairy industry. Just a little, it does this regularly. There we go. Just to give you a little background, I'm from Bodalla, where I dairy farm with my husband, Darren. Darren's a fourth generation dairy farmer. My background isn't dairy. My dad was an earth mover and my mum ran beef cattle. I just married into it. We established our business partnership 26 years ago when we purchased our first dairy farm in Deniliquin in the Riverina in 1995. In 2009, we purchased Riverview Farm and moved our dairy business to Bodalla, where we still are today. And what a sensational season we're having this at the moment. It's just lovely. Our dairy business is a family-owned business. We run a 200-cow Holstein herd all year round on our 790-acre dryland farm. We also have a lease block across the river called Central Farm, and it's 540 acres. At Central, we run our young stock, our beef herd, and produce most of our homegrown fodder. In the last 3 to 4 years, we've diversified our dairy business to include a beef herd, which we're building on every year. Our vision and mission at Riverview Farm is to produce high-quality premium milk that meets and exceeds community and consumer expectations from cows that are healthy and happy and have the best welfare standards in a sustainable and healthy environment where we protect our river, creeks, ecological communities, flora, fauna and natural environment. Our vision and mission on the farm is something we live every day. It's not just a group of sentences that we put out there. We actually do it every day. We live it day to day. When I was approached to do this presentation, I said, well, why would I be doing this? We've only ever been a small business with 2 employees. We have been employing people for about 26 years, and we've had many varying experiences over that time, but always only 1 or 2 employees at a time. I don't have any formal education or qualifications in HR, so, you know, what have I got to offer? Oh, my computer's jumping ahead on me. I guess the real message from me today would be that if I can do this, anyone can do this. Now, I just wanted to introduce our team to you. We've got a young couple started with us, John and Shane, in December of 2020. They moved from the Hunter region. They have a 2.5-year-old little boy, Chase, and another one due in December. Shane's family were dairy farmers in the Hunter area, and John had family that dairy farmed in the Southern Highlands. John and Shane brought to the farm with them 15 cows and heifers. They're both particularly interested in the breeding and showing of the cows and want to develop their careers in the industry. Jono yesterday went and judged the jerseys in the herd competition for our area yesterday. So, you know, they're really getting involved and having a go and, you know, starting that and developing their careers. It's young people like John and Shane that are the future of our industry, and we'd like to help them grow and develop their knowledge and skills. I'm not sure why that's doing that, but anyway, maybe rushing me on. Grow and develop their knowledge and skills as dairy farmers while they are here, part of our team. Before I get into how we recruited John and Shane, I just wanted to talk about an element of our employing people, which I believe has been essential to us and our business. This is the training courses we've participated in over many years. The first of these that I did was the Employing Made Easy course when we were in the Riverina. I've also done ESCI training, Dairy Passport, Work Health and Safety and Work Safe training days, Our Farm, Our Plan and Farming Our People courses, and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, along with many other courses and training days throughout the years. Why all the courses? As I said earlier, I have no formal education in human resources and employing people. These trainings are where I learn and develop my skills to become a more effective employer and work towards becoming an irresistible workplace, as Nolo and Elise both spoke of in their presentations. These courses have been very important in developing us and our business in many areas, such as our personal development and leadership skills, setting our business goals and personal goals for that matter, keeping up to date with employment requirements, identifying our business needs, helping me to ensure our business complies with all legal and industrial regulations, and helping us to get the most out of our team. It's through doing all these courses and training days that we've developed our skills as employers. They've been essential to us developing good business practices and procedures for employing and getting more out of our staff. They've helped me ensure that we are providing all the right information to our staff and employing them under the correct award and pay rates and all the other many aspects of engaging staff and paying them correctly. Also helping me to keep up to date with the latest regulations and obligations of being an employer, which change very regularly. It is as much about training ourselves as it is about training our staff. Whoops, that did it for me. How do we recruit our team? Firstly, we identified our needs and requirements, what we were looking for. Where did we want to be with our business in 5 to 10 years? What and who did we need to employ to help us get there? We answered many of these questions through the Plan on a Page course through Dairy Australia. We then sat down and put an offer together that we thought was attractive to prospective employees and affordable to our business. An attractive package doesn't just mean a lot of money, which Nola said in her presentation. It was also about the lifestyle we could offer on our farm, being flexible, helping them build wealth through growing their own dairy herd and helping them develop their careers in the industry. We spoke to people we trusted within our industry regarding packages, experiences they had had employing people, and inquired about people in the industry that were looking for work. We then contacted some individuals that we had been told were looking for work and all were looking for a change and spoke directly to them. We didn't farm this process out to a HR company or business to do on our behalf. We wanted to be hands-on and speak to them ourselves and be involved in the process so we could get a good feel for the people who we were looking at. It wasn't just one conversation, it was several of them over time. We didn't rush this process. We wanted to take our time and get it right. Our interview process was a very informal process. Darren spoke to John on the phone several times before he and Shane came to the farm for a meeting. At this meeting, we sat down and discussed the package that we had put together, our farm vision, our direction and our expectations. We also discussed training and development opportunities. John and Shane got the opportunity at this meeting to ask any questions they had of us or the package and to tell us about their goals and hopes for the future, their ambitions and the direction they wanted to go. Having the meeting on the farm also gave John and Shane a good opportunity to see the farm and the local area. We like a more informal setting as it allows everyone to relax and be themselves. We find we learn more about people if they're in a relaxed setting and can chat in a friendly and open environment. We had a copy of our plan on a page at the meeting and went through it with John and Shane. We found this to be a really useful tool in prompting us to cover the topics of our farm and business vision, values, key focus areas, goals and action areas. It really helped start that conversation and ensured we didn't miss any of them out. We provided John and Shane with copies of all the documents so that they could take them home with them to, so they had something to refer back to when they were discussing the package and whether they wanted to join us or not. Employing staff and being competitive with other industries is becoming increasingly difficult. Darren and I have found it's getting harder and harder to get staff to work in our industry. And I know it isn't just in our area, it's a problem everywhere and in lots of different industries too. I was an employee for about 11 years before I was ever an employer. And then all through running our dairy business with Darren, I've worked off farm as well as on the farm. I think this has helped me as an employer in some ways, as I try to emulate what my best employers did and made me enjoy working with and for them. My first experience as an employer was a good one. Bruce was with us for 14 years while we were in Deniliquin, and fantastic. He had very similar values, work ethic and love of dairy cows and dairy farming that we had ourselves. This first experience as an employer was a positive one for me. It allowed me to get many of our forms and employment procedures in place. Our experience with Bruce has become my employment benchmark. We've had quite a few employees since then, some good, some bad, and one absolute disaster. But from each and every one of these experiences, we've tried to learn and develop our skills as an employer. Every time we have had an employer move on, we ask for feedback from them so that we can know where we're going well or where we really need to work on, and to make us better employers. I'm not a natural employer. I'm very much a do-it-myself person. And if something isn't done correctly or how I like it, I tend to jump in and do it myself. I've had to learn that you have to step back, let your staff do the jobs, and you need to discuss it, keep that communication open and happening, so that they're learning and can get a feel for the job as well. We need to get everyone on the same page so that jobs are done correctly and to the expected standard. Another area I know I'm not strong at is delegating work and training people. I tend to do my things myself, as I've already mentioned, and I get in a muddle when I try to train people. I jump backwards and forwards and get myself confused, much less the poor person I'm trying to train. Darren, on the other hand, is pretty good in these areas. He's patient when teaching people, and he's really good at letting them go rather than stepping in and taking over. Darren and I have very different strengths which complement each other most of the time. We definitely have different areas we are good at, so we work to our strengths when dealing with the staff. It's very much a team effort. It's very hard to change your nature and natural instincts, so it's taken a lot of personal development and determination to change and improve myself in these areas. And there's still a lot to do to make me a better employer. There are plenty of times I have had my confidence knocked around, and then there's times when I think, yeah, we did get that right. It's been through the courses and training I've participated in that have helped me see where I need to make changes and give me the tools to start making them in our business. It has by no means been quick or easy to make the changes. It's often hard work and very challenging, especially when we're so time poor and when we're trying to change habits that we've had for a long time. It's definitely a work in progress, and I'm sure there'll be obstacles and challenges that arise in the future. It isn't about being perfect at it or getting it right all the time. We've found communication is essential, and if the communication is open and honest, then when you don't get it right or having problems, it's easy to get back on track if you can communicate with the staff in a non-confrontational and respectful manner. It's also important to give feedback, and just as important to ask for feedback from staff. It's through receiving feedback that we have learned where we need to grow and develop our skills. It is easy when we get busy to let things slide. It's much better to take the time to check in regularly, even with a quick chat at the dairy to keep things on track. Doesn't have to be a formal sit-down meeting every week. Whoops, my computer's doing this all on its own. Now, the resources, there's so many useful resources and sources of information that are available to us, and I'd strongly advise anyone that isn't already using them to start. I access and rely on these resources often. Most of my forms come from the resources that I have sourced and that are adapted to my business and my situation. It's no good just trying to reinvent the wheel. Some of the main resources that I use is our accountant, the People in Dairy website. They have so much useful information and templates and forms that can be used and adapted to your business. They've always got the up-to-date wage rates and employment awards on their site and send out updates when there are changes made to the award or the pay rises come through. The website has information that ranges from anywhere from recruiting staff right through to farm safety. New South Wales Farmers IR Essentials is a resource I also often use. I pay for this service with my annual subscription and use them whenever I do employment contracts or have any questions regarding employment. I like this service because you get to speak directly to someone, and sometimes it's easier to actually discuss your issue or what you're trying to find out rather than trying to read all the relevant information and nut it out on your own. Discussion groups I find are a great place to discuss with fellow farmers what they are doing, what they have success with or have found useful. It's always reassuring to find that lots of people have similar experiences. You're not on your own. And it's always a good setting for problem solving and brainstorming. It's also a place to learn what may be new or done differently on other farms and their business. There is always something to be learnt at every discussion date. The WorkSafe website and publications have a huge amount of information for farming businesses and all areas of making your farm compliant and safe for employees. Everyone wants their staff to get home and without injury at the end of the day, and WorkSafe is a great source to help in this area. And I did note, it was nice to note that safety is a big issue from both Elise and Oleg's presentations, that's a high priority for people, for our employees. I also find other people in our industry are valuable sources of information. With such a large industry with so many areas and different farming systems, that there is a huge pool of information and knowledge that we can tap into. Sorry, my computer just has a mind of its own. Talk to those you trust in the industry. Look for those that are doing something really well or differently. I found that to be very helpful and interested in most people are really helpful and interested in sharing their knowledge and experience when I have approached them. One reason I believe it's hard to get staff is because our industry image. We need to market ourselves, our industry and our products in a positive way. We need to ensure our cows and calves are healthy, well cared for, and we have animal welfare outcomes as a high priority. We produce high quality nutritious products, and we need to ensure that we get that message out to the marketplace and the community. We also need to promote that we can and do these make these products in an environmentally sustainable manner. These aren't just my vision for our farm, but they are the expectation of our consumers, customers, employees, prospective employers, and the general population. We have to keep up with consumer wishes if we want to remain a viable and respected industry. If we promote ourselves and our industry in this positive light, it will become more attractive for people to work in. As Elise and Oleg showed us in their presentations, these things really do matter to our consumers, employees, and community. These issues, in part due to social media, are front and centre for people in today's society, and whether we like it or not, should also be a priority for us as dairy farmers. Promotion for the dairy industry and our products not only has to come from our processors and industry bodies, but should also be coming from the grassroots level. That's us. We need to be promoting ourselves, our farms, and our industry. We shouldn't sell ourselves short. We work long hours and it's hard work, in good weather and bad, through droughts, floods, and fires, as we've certainly seen in the last few years. But we are helping feed the nation. We need to be proud of it. We need to promote ourselves as part of the solution, not part of the problem. We also need to promote the benefits of being a dairy farmer and living on a farm, the flexibility of work hours, the ability to develop a career, build wealth through the purchase of assets or dairy cows and breeding up livestock numbers. Working on a dairy is meaningful work, and there is plenty of opportunity to develop, grow, and step up to the next level, whether that's moving into a management role, share farming, leasing, or buying their own dairy, and it's up to us to be promoting it. Some lessons we've learnt as being an employer. Employing people is a journey. It takes time. Doesn't always work out, not every employer you get will be a success story. My advice is when these people move on, always ask them for feedback. Negative feedback is as important and valued, perhaps even more important than the positive feedback. Employing people isn't easy, but it is something you can develop and improve through participating in training days and courses. Get help. There are plenty of people, websites, resources and courses that you can access and use to make it easier and give you the tools to implement good practices. You can and will develop and improve your skills as an employer if you work on it. I have a way to go, but I aim to become an irresistible employer of choice. Remember, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Thanks for listening to me.
Wow, Sharon, what a journey you've been on, and I really enjoyed your insights, and particularly a new appreciation for your photographic skills as well. Thanks so much for sharing with us. If you'd like to ask Sharon a question or you have an additional thought or insight, please drop it in the Q&A tab to be addressed in our upcoming